So basically, he's going to play our intro.
You're watching SKST Radio.
Well, welcome to another episode of SKST Radio, and we have the Arthurs Network going strong right here at the studio. So I have two new friends. I'm so proud to have been able to meet Miss Sherry Bailey and Mr. Jessie Warren right here in the studio live with their books, and where they're going to talk. We're going to get to know one another and find out what the good things that they're doing in the communities today. They have a lot of history. It's a lot of history sitting in this room. I'm just so amazed at these two people and what I've learned so far. So you guys, I want you to introduce yourselves, tell people who you are and how you got here. We'll start with you, Miss Sherry.
Well, I appreciate being here first. Thank you very much for the invite. And my name is Sherry Bailey, and I'm born and raised here in Hampton Roads, in Portsmouth, in fact, where Missy Elliott just got a street named after.
Yes, she did. Hey!
It's on the map there. We're really excited about that. But that's born and raised here, and after high school, left running, never to return, is what I said to myself. And fortunately, things conspired to bring me back home about 25 years ago.
Okay.
And my daughter was about to start first grade, and I had to make that decision whether I was going to stay in Los Angeles and be a single parent or come back home and have family support. And so made the decision to come back home, and came back home and realized what a rich place this is in terms of the history. And so I came back, and I started doing research about our local history as it pertains to how slavery starts and ends in America.
Uh-huh.
That led me to found Juneteenth VA, which is my nonprofit. And what we do is our mission is to help America heal from the wounds of slavery without shame or blame. And we've just celebrated our 25th year this year, and
Wow.
quite excited about the fact that Juneteenth is now a federal holiday. When we started doing the work, it was June who? June what? And now here in Hampton Roads, at least, everybody's giving me a lot of credit for the fact that we now have a federal holiday. They go, I know about Juneteenth because of you, Sherry Daly, and I'm really proud about that.
Nice.
So that's kind of like what is going on with me at this point.
Nice, very nice. And then you, Mr. Warren.
Yes, again, I'd like to thank you for this opportunity.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yes, ma'am. It's nice to meet you, and I find you to be very refreshing. A lot of times when people ask me, to speak, where do I start? I grew up in New York City, in Harlem. I was addicted to heroin from my time in the military for 27 years.
Oh, wow.
And everything that went with that lifestyle. And August the 20th of 1998, I was sitting on the side of a urine-stained mattress contemplating suicide.
Oh, wow.
That's how bad I wanted to stop drugging. And God met me in that place. And since then, I got to give credit to where credit is due. A gentleman gave me his card about a year prior to that date. And he told me, he said, if you're ever serious about getting off of drugs, give me a call. But if you're not serious, don't call me.
Don't call me.
So over that year, periodically, I would look at that card and think about calling him. But now I even picked up the phone and dialed a few numbers, only to put the phone down and continue on. And I lost the card. And here I'm sitting contemplating suicide. And I'm going to say God brought that number back to me.
Oh, wow.
And I called that gentleman. It was a Thursday, August the 20th, 9 o'clock. And that gentleman stopped everything that he was doing and came to see about me.
Wow.
And the Bible tells us that I'm a minister, so it's hard for me to talk without mentioning scriptures.
Oh, no, not at all. Go ahead.
But this gentleman came to get me, and he took me to a detox center located in Norfolk. I'm a resident of Portsmouth. So when I got there, the clinician told me that they wouldn't be able to service me there because I wasn't a resident of Norfolk. So I would have to pay everything up front.
Mm-hmm.
And this gentleman asked her how much is his treatment, and this man actually went took out his checkbook and wrote my entire treatment. And then he turned around and gave me $50 to get my shaving stuff and deodorants. And I told him, I said, I'm gonna pay you back every dime of this. And he told me, you don't owe me anything.
Mm.
He said, but God is gonna raise you up from this day. And when he do, you give back what was so freely given unto you this day.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. And so I goes into detox, and I went cold turkey for 7 days. And to bring it up to date, about 15 years ago, I've dedicated myself to helping other people get off of drugs and alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to write a book. And I set out to write this book to introduce myself to my children, because I got 20 grandchildren and 3 great-grandsons. And so I wrote this book to introduce myself to them. And as I'm writing it, God tells me this book is going to help more than just your children. I had no idea what God meant by that.
Mm-hmm.
But since then, the book done gone global, being translated to other languages.
Amazing.
I'm doing books. So I left New York 35 years ago, a drug addict, running for my life.
Wow.
Only to return back to New York, a published author.
Nice.
Then they put me up in one of the swankiest hotels in New York City.
Nice.
And the song from the Jeffersons came to me. Now we're up in the big league.
Good time.
Uh-huh.
But this book has served to open a lot of doors.
Mm.
I'm teaching 8 classes a month on recovering from drugs and alcohol.
Oh, okay.
So I'm giving back. I've been the recipient of the Give Back Award from the city of Portsmouth twice. So that's what the man that saved my life told me, give back what was so freely given. And I haven't seen that man since that day.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
But the Bible said, be careful how you treat strangers,
Right.
because you might be entertaining angels.
Mm-hmm.
See, we looking for the angels that Michelangelo image, flying around with the halos.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
No, they're everyday people.
They're everyday people.
Everyday people.
And what makes you, when you put yourself aside long enough to help somebody else, that in itself is an angelical act.
Mm-hmm.
So we all got angels in us,
Right.
in and around us. Once we acquire that spiritual awakening, then we can see them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow, I am so amazed. Okay, so this young lady here has a book. Y'all can hold it up towards the camera. She has a book here. She does the African American, what do you call it?
That's Abolitionist
Museum.
It is a 60-minute play that basically features 8 historical figures. And, well, first of all, that confused folks. Coming Clean is Mrs. Warren here, and it's a great read also. I would encourage you to definitely read it. It's gripping. Abolitionist Museum, we take this into schools, churches, recreation centers, wherever we can get our foot in the door. These 8 figures from history are wax figures in the museum.
Mm-hmm.
The museum curator brings in a Confederate flag, and they debate whether or not to burn the flag. So what we do is we create a curriculum that goes with it, because we're using a lot of primary resources. The primary resources, let's say, one of the characters is Harry Beecher Stowe, who wrote Uncle Tom's Cabin.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Uncle Tom's Cabin is a primary document in terms of the curriculum and so forth like that. And each of these characters each had an impact on slavery in a major way. We have Nat Turner, Harriet Tubman, John Brown, Harry Beecher Stowe, Abraham Lincoln, Frederick Douglass, Sojourner Truth, and David Walker.
Nice.
And we do a lot. I like to do a lot of casting from non-professional people,
Mm-hmm.
because it is those are the folks who are going to be the ambassadors.
Mm-hmm.
Once they learn how to do the play, then they can take it into their community, into their church, into their civic league.
Mm-hmm.
And the goal of the work is to create conversations where people can understand, have a conversation where they make a decision about what they want to do. For instance, the Confederate flag. For a lot of people, it's a painful symbol,
Mm.
and they don't want it anywhere. But for a lot of other people, it is a sign of their heritage, and it represents, their family tree in a sense.
Mm.
And they want the right to be able to to fly that flag. So the conversations in the play, we asked the audience at the end of the play, what would your vote be, to burn or not to burn the Confederate flag? What would your vote be, Miss Jessie?
I've been giving a lot of thought.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's what the play allows people to do, because that's exactly what a lot of people say. So I hadn't really thought about it.
Mm.
But when you watch the play and listen to the debate going on,
Mm.
then by the end of the play, they do have an opinion.
Mm.
So this is why we believe in live theater. Because you get something in live theater that you can't get from television or movies.
Mm.
You get people face to face having conversations about real issues.
Well, I think that's very important that we communicate.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't communicate, nothing's gonna get solved.
It's all lost, right?
It's almost like I like to say it's like the gorilla sitting in the room and nobody questioning it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What are you doing here?
Right.
Yeah. So once we develop a dialogue, then and it's painful.
Yeah.
It's not a comfortable.
Right.
But in order to heal,
right,
it's got to be done.
Exactly.
I look at my book and I think about going into my personal abyss, where I kept all the skeletons and the demons locked away.
Mm-hmm.
In order for me to heal as an individual,
right,
I had to go into that place and face them.
Right.
And it wasn't comfortable.
Yeah.
I threw the pen down, didn't want to write anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But in order for me to get healed,
right,
I got to stay there.
Absolutely.
And face them down. And this country had to go into its personal abyss.
Absolutely.
And face it down.
Right.
Otherwise, we're not going to grow.
What is, necessary for the individual is necessary for the country as well.
Exactly.
It is like a living, breathing entity that needs to be,
in and of itself.
Properly cared for. And that's just, first of all, you got to get people aware that needs to happen.
Mm.
Then you got to bring them together so that they can
it can happen.
It
can begin.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I see we, as Black people, are in a powerful position that we don't use.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the power of forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
We somehow going along with, you don't like me, I don't like you.
Mm-hmm.
What does that accomplish us?
Mm-hmm.
It's only through forgiveness that we can get there.
Mm-hmm.
There's forgiveness.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people see forgiveness as a weakness.
Exactly. But it's not. It's not a weakness.
No, it's not.
It's
a
strength.
Yeah. Right.
And it's for the individual.
Right.
It ain't so much for the person that you're forgiving as it is for your own freedom.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I had in my book, I talk about how I remember the day I was broken. 12 years old. My stepfather was a very abusive man. And he used to send me to the stove to light his cigarettes when he was too lazy to do it himself. Now I'm smoking, and you're going to beat me for smoking. And I was a butt wide kid. You ever ran into a butt wide kid?
What is that?
A butt wide kid, you just can't tell him anything and he's going to just run with you. When you tell a butt wide kid, he's going to butt wide you to death.
But why?
But why? Okay.
But why? I got you.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
So you just going to tell me anything.
Gotcha.
And he going to beat me for smoking. And I was determined. He had beat me so much, I had determined at 12 years old, I ain't crying no more. And this man stood 6'2" and weighed over 200 pounds. And I'm a child. And he began to beat me with an extension cord. And I just looked at him. And he hit me. He said, "Oh, you're a man now, you're not going to cry." So he began to hit me harder. And the more determined he was to make me cry, I was just as determined not to. And I actually bit my bottom lip, drinking my own blood. And I didn't cry. And I used it as a weapon against the world, because the world wanted to make me cry. So that's the day I was broken. But we was talking about the power of forgiveness. I was a prisoner of that. When I've unforgiven him. Yeah. But the day came when I had to release him.
Right.
Through much therapy. I had a therapist, a psychologist, a psychiatrist, a hypnotist.
I'm so glad you're sharing that, because people need to appreciate that is a good thing to do. There's so much just embarrassment, it seems to be associated with seeking help
Yeah.
Yeah.
for mental illness, and maybe
Especially in the black community.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we got some secrets, and we were told as children,
Mm-hmm.
don't you take this out of the house.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you tell nobody this.
Mm-hmm.
So we locked it away.
Mm-hmm.
And we grew up broken adults.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't want nobody to know that we were sexually abused.
Right.
We don't want nobody to know we've been seeing a psychiatrist.
Right.
Because everybody walking around here.
Right.
There's a stigma attached to it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
But I never saw my father. I was an abandoned child.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a perfect excuse not to amount to anything
Mm.
and put it on him.
You know, you talk about that. This is why I love doing the research with these characters and so forth like that. Well, they're not characters; they're actual historical figures. But Frederick Douglass tells a story of how he had vague memories of his mother, and turns out that she lived 12 miles away, and having to walk a 25-mile round trip, she only got to visit him once a year at Christmas.
Oh, wow.
And when he was about 3 or 4, she disappeared in terms of he no longer saw her. So he has this vague, image of his mother from when he was maybe 2 or 3 years old. That's all he had of her. And it is. People need to appreciate that what strong people we come from.
Mm-hmm.
We would not be here if not for the strength of our ancestors.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And that when people start to hear these stories, they kind of can relate to themselves and tell, that's where the healing starts,
Mm-hmm.
So being able to get these conversations going is critical. And you're sharing your story makes me realize how much more so it is necessary for
and how much we all got in common.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
But see, our enemy is, we were talking earlier,
Mm-hmm.
the enemy is keeping us divided.
Right.
Money is being spent. Actually, U.S. dollars is being spent to keep us separated.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause, I mean, I get people sending me selfies from California with this
Mm-hmm.
book.
Mm-hmm.
People telling me next to the Bible, this is the most honest book they ever read.
Wow.
People telling me it
It
feels
is
like
powerful.
it feels like you are sitting here talking to me.
Mm-hmm.
People are saying I had to put it down because I'm crying.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was the same area that they was crying in that I threw the pen down, didn't want to write no more.
Right.
And God encouraged me to pick the pen back up. So it was a hard write. It's an easy read, but it was a hard write,
Right.
to get all this stuff down. 'Cause
Right.
I'm telling stuff in here that I swore nobody's going to know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take this to my grave.
Mm-hmm.
But God said, no, these things are taking you to the grave.
Mm-hmm.
These are the very things that's killing you.
Mm-hmm.
So free yourself.
Free yourself.
Free yourself.
There's a good bumper
Yeah,
sticker.
that's a good start. Yeah, a good start of a new book too. So let me ask you this though. So when you did your book, but what really, like it took you a long time to decide this, that you wanted to get clean, and when did you finally decide that you were going to get the story out? What prompted you to actually just sit down and put pen to paper?
My family. Like I said, I was abandoned as a child. And family has always been important to me. Where it come from, I don't know. But I wanted to be a better man than my daddy was.
Mm-hmm.
He abandoned the family. And I wanted to be a better man than him. So I thank God for keeping me. Because it was time with 5 daughters and a wife and a drug addiction. It was time when I wanted to run.
Mm-hmm.
But God kept me in place. But I set out to write this book to introduce myself to the family.
Mm-hmm.
Let them know where I came from, what makes me who I am. They know of me, but they don't know the depths of who I am.
Mm-hmm.
But my struggles and what I've been through.
Mm-hmm.
I was something else before I became your daddy.
Right.
I was something else before I became your grandfather. And young people being young people, they don't take time for me to tell them.
Right.
They busy. I got my old 5 grandchildren that's in college. They ain't got time to sit and listen to old man, babble on and on and on. So I said, well, maybe if I write this book,
Mm-hmm.
at some point in their life, they'll open it up. I might not even be here. It ain't that important. But it's important that they know. That's what's important, the legacy,
Right.
as it is. So I set out to write this book, and I prayed, Lord, help me to write it. And see, what I find is that a lot of time when we ask God for something or we pray for something, we already got a preconceived notion as to how God is going to answer us. And when he don't answer us the way we think he should, or the way our mind is telling him he should, we're missing when he answers.
Mm-hmm.
So when I ask God to help me, I got this preconceived notion in my head. He's going to tell me go to this school, take this course, and writing,
Mm-hmm.
God simply said, pick up the pen and paper and start writing.
Wow.
And when I tell you this, God been with me. God gave me the title. I had a whole bunch of titles in my head. God sent a young lady in my life to do this illustration. God sent people in my life to edit it. God sent people in my life to format it. God sent people in my life to type it. God sent people in my life to pay for it. It cost $7,000 to get this in my hand. Not a dime came out of my pocket.
It's
The
amazing.
publisher gave me a year to pay it off at $600. I work a part-time job. Where am I going to get? But where God gives vision, there's provision.
Yeah,
But
I like that.
But we get vision and
Another
take
bumper
off.
sticker.
I did that. I got the vision and took off.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot about the provision. So I'm out here trying to raise money. Couldn't raise a dime. So with my tail tucked between my legs, I go back to God. Lord, you gave me this book, and nobody's going to help me to get it out.
Yeah.
God said, I got the provision, but you took off so fast. If you'd have waited around a little bit longer,
Come back.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
This guy called me up and said, I'm going to give you $1,000. He said, if you need it now, go borrow it and I'll pay the interest. He said, but if you can wait, I'm going to give you $500 February the 1st and another $500 March the 1st. This lady got stage 4 cancer. There's no stage 5. When you get stage 4, and she used to call me periodically just to see how the book coming. You got stage 4 cancer. I'm thinking you got more important things than to think about me.
Yeah.
Yeah. She sent me $700 toward the publication of this book.
Wow.
And she died 3 days later.
Oh my gosh.
My next book is on gratitude. So y'all see my name in front of it, and they want to praise me. But if you could only see the people behind this, the multitude of people that's behind this book. And it's my job now to bring them to the forefront.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when I spoke, this is Heidi, guys. She'd welcome her to the show.
Hey, Heidi.
So through Heidi, I met these two wonderful people for the audience who don't know. And so she spoke very highly of you, Sherry, first of all. And then she comes back and she tells me about you. And so I'm like, girl, I need to meet these people, And so it's a blessing. I mean, God have us in our place for a reason. It was a reason that I met this young lady. It was a reason, we just clicked, right? We just clicked. And so she was telling me about the 12 stages? What was it?
12 days.
12 days of
the 12 days of Turner.
Oh yeah, 12 days of Turner.
Like-
Okay, so she was telling me that, and she was like, look it up. I mean, the enthusiasm in her voice.
Yes.
Contagious.
It is. It really is. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I called my partner, and I told him, I said, I met this lady on this site that we, racism site, and I was just telling him, and he was like, oh wow, you're excited. And I'm like, yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait to meet these people. And so being new here in the community, like I said, like we talked about earlier, it's very refreshing to meet like-minded people.
Real people.
Real people. And so, I've been in New Orleans, they have that mentality, crab in the bucket thing, but I've experienced some of it here as well, and so, but I know that God's gonna make a way. I know that I'm doing this for a reason. This hobby turned professional. And so, after talking to her, she was giving me ideas, and I'm like, well, see, the studio's going to be fine. The studio's going to be fine. We're going to have amazing people in here, and look what we got. Not even a day later, a week later, right? About a week later. Right. So anyway, Heidi, tell people who you are and what you got going on.
Wow. Excuse me, I just want to say, thank you for the opportunity, and
You're
all of
welcome.
us being in the same room, as humanitarians, and we're all living our soul's purpose. And everything that you were saying earlier is it beautiful souls, and we answer the call, and that's what we're doing. And so I love it. This is like my favorite part of life, and having these conversations, and all of us have this, intense passion, to help humanity. So I love it. So, anyways, I have a business called What's Your Passion? Creative Arts Industry and Management
Nice.
Team, WIP for short. And same thing with what happened to you. I was praying and asking and listening, and yes, the words come, and you don't even know certain things until maybe years later, and you're like, and you're like, wow, the logo I chose is one of my ancestors, for Earth Warrior Protection symbol, and all these things. And it's like a beautiful puzzle that comes together. And yes, if you go too fast, yes, you do miss doors, and you got to go backwards a little bit. And I've been learning that as well. And right now, I just feel like it's a time, everything is shifting, and everything that was, and it's time for the new. So I'm hoping that obviously we can use your platform with you to help uplift the community with humanitarians, letting them know resources, how they can be part of the community. Um, Again, I'm all about uniting with the arts, because when you think about art, it's soul to soul.
Right.
And people don't look at a painting or a song and say, is that a female? Is it a male? What color? Where'd you come from?
Exactly.
It resonates with your soul. And so to me, the arts is a great way to unite, show how we're connected through all time space realities, from way back when to now. And it is, I just love it.
Yeah.
I just love it. So thank you for.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it's been a meeting of souls in terms of our experiences together. Heidi and I known each other about 3 or 4 years, and we met under really chaotic circumstances, and we somehow managed to stay on level ground. And you meet a lot of folks, and you have first impressions, and they turn out to be absolutely right. And so it's been kind of growing. Just the way the three of us end up in the same space has been amazing. I met Mr. Jessie through my sister, and this was a couple of years ago that we first met, and that's how I became familiar with his book. And then here Heidi is saying, I gave her his name for him to participate in 12 Days of Turner. And they made a connection in terms of just kind of the conversations and so forth like that. And realized, this is who it needs to be, and without trying to micromanage it, just again, letting God and the higher power be our kind of guiding force there. And that's been a real hard lesson for me. I'm really kind of a micromanager, and want to think that I can control everything, and realize, fortunately, that I can't. And so, which opens up the door, to like have collaborations, and to like put trust and faith in people who, that's been tested severely by many of us, that the whole world is under a lot of pressure right now. And so how we kind of move forward now, it really is about networking and creating collectives and villages and communities that have your best interest at heart, and you have their best interest at heart, and then you can, move forward. 12 Days of Turner is very much about trying to help people have those conversations, ask the questions, and together find some answers. The title of the event comes from the fact that Nat Turner was captured on October 30th, given a trial, and hung on November 11th. So that time frame between October 30th to November 11th, we call the 12 Days of Turner. And on each day, we are presenting some aspect of the Nat Turner insurrection and its impact all these almost 200 years later. So it is about trying to get folks to talk about this difficult history in ways that are positive and supportive and healing. We've been doing the play for about 20 years. And we have a wonderful clip on YouTube where we're doing the play, and a woman shouts from the audience, "Nat Turner killed my family." And the cast, I always laugh when I look at the clip because we're all looking like deer caught in a headlight, like, who said
Who's
that?
that?
What? And it turned out to be a 70-year-old white female, Miss Rose Nichols, who was a descendant of one of the victims of the Nat Turner insurrection. And she was of the mind that it had happened like the previous week, it felt like.
Mhm.
And we said, ma'am, we're going to finish the show, and then we're going to have a conversation after the show. And guys, it was one of the best post-show conversations I was ever involved in. There were also members of the Sons of the Confederacy in the audience because they'd heard about what the play was about and they wanted to be there to protect their flag. And we had, again, an exchange of thoughts and ideas that wouldn't have seemed possible, to most folks. But I even saw the woman who played Harriet Tubman and one of the Sons of the Confederacy exchange contact information. Now, whether they ever contact each other doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter. It's
The connection happened.
Yeah, and that's really what the work is about. It's again about being able to lift up this difficult history and have people have conversation about it, because that's only then are we going to be able to move beyond it. By having conversations that kind of people express themselves freely and with civility, and be able to like have the conversation and then move on. So 12 Days of Turner starts on October 30th. Out of the Great Dismal Swamp Refuge, and we were really excited to get them to be a part of it because that's where Nat Turner escaped to. The insurrection started on August 21st, and then he escaped, and he was hiding out in the Dismal Swamp for about 6 weeks until he was captured on October 30th. So that's symbolically, it's really wonderful that we're going to be opening up in the swamp. And we've got some wonderful supporters. Particularly, I wanted to thank the Tidewater Swords of Justice. Okay. That is a collective of 26 or so houses of faith that are working to, kind of spread the message in terms of just social justice and forgiveness, and and truth and honesty. So really grateful to them. WYP, Heidi's organization and company. And Fort Monroe, they are very supportive of what we're doing. And our goal, again, is to be able to reach out around the entire region. Hampton Roads is about 16, 17 cities, towns, and counties. And the history doesn't recognize any boundaries of that. It just says it happened in this area, and we want to know about it. And, we know people want to come and hear about this history. They come and they hear from Jamestown and Colonial Williamsburg, but Juneteenth VA offers something different. We offer, actually getting to the grassroots of that history and being able to meet the descendants, get oral histories, and have them be in conversations. As I said, they are also members, of the cast and crew. That's how they get training. And our goal is to be able to train people how to be historical reenactors as well as actors on the Broadway stage.
Yeah, that's nice.
So
it's nice.
And the flyer, I would like to put that on camera there. Heidi designed this flyer, and I think it's a great flyer.
Oh, wow, it's beautiful.
Isn't that nice?
Absolutely beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
You guys can see that. Zoom in on that. There we go. And then we have a camera this way. There you go. Very cool.
And you can keep that.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll put it out in the lobby.
Yeah, and the picture itself is actually an artist that's unique to even what we're doing, which is challenging and bringing up the truth. So, but his name is Stephen Town. So if anyone looks it up, and he's had a lot of stuff on display. And again, you have some people like old school mindset that feel a certain way. So, but I like about this artist is he helps you think about what has happened and what is. So the same thing of what we're doing, and to challenge it and to ask questions. So this author is...
People don't want to think.
Right.
People hate thinking. People like to stay on the shadow end of the pool. They don't want to go into the depths. And what I do in my classes, I take them into the depths. We're coming out of the shadow end of the pool. And we're going to go down into the depths of and the issues of life, you know. And they bought into, we know that the devil is a liar. Everything that comes out of his mouth, they say, how can you tell when a lawyer is lying? When his mouth is moving. So that's the same way we can tell when the devil is lying, because his mouth is moving. So he has sold us a bill of goods, and we bought it. People identifying themselves by the mistakes that they made. That's not who you are. You are bigger than any mistake. I'm 70 years old, and I done made a whole bunch of mistakes. But if you ball them all up in one big ball, guess what? I'm bigger than that. I'm bigger than that. And they done bought into the fact that because you did drugs, you stupid. Because you did drugs, you dumb. No, you're not. Some of the most gifted, intelligent people on God's earth,
Yep.
I'm sitting among. But nobody told them because they done bought into the lie. And here I come along and tell them, no, you're not. An addict can think, moving 100 miles an hour. Your Harvard grad, your Oxford grad, they got to sit down and think. You ever seen that statue?
Got to think about it.
Yeah. An addict can move, think on the move. An addict can wake up in the morning, need $100 to get high, and not have a penny. And before the day is over with, he comes up with that $100. That takes intelligence. And he do it 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Do the math. That's $36,500 just on his habit. They don't include his food, shelter, clothes. We're easily talking $55,000, $60,000.
But I'll challenge you on. I think people do want to learn. They need good teachers.
Yeah, somebody need to tell them.
So many people say like they hate history. Well, when you talk about dead people and dates, everybody hates history because your eyes just glaze over. But if you bring it alive and make them relate to it, then they're really interested in it. And so and you obviously are a great teacher, and so it is about fun. Connecting the student with the teacher, and that's what our goal is, to work with law enforcement to get those kids who are on the crib to prison pipeline, to be able to get people before they make the mistakes that we're all prone to make, catch them before that happens. And just with simply telling the truth, as Heidi was saying, we're just about sharing the truth of, the past. And that ultimately gets us, into a much brighter future.
I graduated from college, went to school 3.5 years at night, had 2 daughters born while I was in college, worked during the day. Came out of school with a 3.68 GPA. I was on the dean's list twice, president list once, president of the student council, and did heroin every day. Go figure. That's how I know ain't nothing stupid about an addict. Nothing. But here I come along and tell them this. And I tell them, if you think I'm all that, you just disqualified yourself. The whole message don't went right on over your head. Because anything I can do, you can do. And to see the light bulbs when I'm talking to them, I don't plan nothing. I don't have a curriculum. People, what you going to teach them today? I don't know. Come to the class with both
life. I'm going to teach you life.
So I don't sit down overnight, let me see what I'm going to teach you today. Whatever God puts here, that what comes out. But see, I love people. I love people. God had to show me how to do it because I ain't know. Some people make it easy to love. It's easy to love you. It's easy to love you. But some people makes it hard. And I went to God. I said, Lord, I know you're not going to ask me to do something that I can't do. So if you ask me to love everybody, there must be a way I can do it. But I need you to show me.
Right.
Because I don't know how. I can fake it, but I don't want to fake it.
Right.
So if you show me how to do it, this is just a conversation me and God had. If you show me how to do it, I'll do it. And see, that's why Jesus came. Jesus came to do away with the middleman. So it's nothing. I teach spirituality. There's nothing between you and God.
What do you do when you have someone who's an atheist or non-believer?
I don't do nothing.
I mean, the conversation is the same.
It stays the same.
I say the same. I do a disclaimer before I start my class.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all know I'm a pastor, so I'm gonna quote some scriptures.
Mm-hmm.
But notice up front, I'm not here to change your religion. I'm not here to change your God. I'm not here to recruit you for my church. Because if you don't want to come to my church, I don't want you there.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I ain't here to sell no donuts. I ain't here to sell no chicken dinner.
No donuts.
I'm going. We lost me on the chicken.
I'm not here to take up no collection. Whatever God that you happen to be serving, if it's keeping you clean and sober,
Mm-hmm.
by all means, bow to that God.
Mm-hmm.
And for me and my house, just me and my house, I'm going to serve the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
Then we can get on with the class.
Mm-hmm.
Then once I do that, though, you'd be surprised how many of them, they bring the Bible in with them.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I'm remembering a friend that had a son who was incarcerated for like over 15 years.
Mhm.
And I was at her house, and there were some paintings of flowers, still life flower kind of, and they were just beautiful, and like Renaissance artist kind of thing.
Mhm.
And she said her son had done those works of art, and the way that he got his paint is that he would she'd send him money so that he could buy snacks, and he would buy
M&Ms.
and made colors from the M&Ms.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that just blew me
Amazing.
away.
I know. My brother, who was incarcerated at one time,
Mhm.
and he could draw really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
And he would send pictures home on not napkins. What do you call them? Handkerchiefs.
Mhm.
He would send pictures home on handkerchiefs, and he colored them with M&Ms.
Right.
Colored them with M&Ms.
I
I was amazed.
yes.
So yeah, absolutely.
Isn't that something?
I visited some art galleries over in Norfolk. I don't know if you had a chance to go to the Neon District. They got a lot of artwork going on, graffiti, what we used to call graffiti, not artwork. But I was in one day, and the one D Arts is a studio, about 20 artists.
Mhm.
Sometimes you go there, the artists be on campus doing their work. And I'm sitting there watching them with all this beauty. But I want to know the source. I told you I'm a butt white kid.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a butt white man now. But I want to know what's the source of this beauty. I mean, I could draw this and it look like this, but I need something to draw from.
Right.
Here these people are taking a blank canvas
Mm-hmm.
and producing such beauty. Where did it come from? And almost to an artist, from the tragedies of life. Some of the artists, they come out of messy divorce. Some of them was contemplating suicide. Some of them OD'd. And from the ashes of the phoenix, this arrives.
Mm-hmm.
Almost to an artist. And that's amazing to me. One of my psychiatrists, I wasn't even on his caseload, but me and him used to converse during lunch hour in the hallways at the VA hospital. And he put me on his caseload. And he says, so one day I come in and he said, how you doing, Jessie? I said, I'm doing pretty good. I said, everything seems to be coming up roses. I said, I'm waiting for something bad to happen. He said, because that's how you used to live in your life.
Mm-hmm.
He said, but see, and I remember it, and he told me this almost over 25 years ago. He said, if something bad don't happen, you'll make it happen because that's what you're used to.
Mm.
Yeah. Manifesting.
Yeah, storms going to come naturally, but you just make sure you ain't the author of it. And he said, Mr. Jesse, it's possible to live happily ever after. I said, wow.
Mm.
And then I went to this art gallery, and they got this painting, and they got a table in this room, and a lamp on the table, and they got about 200 shoes in this room. Sandals, boots, sneakers.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking and I'm saying, well, the artist, I'm trying to put my mind, with the artist. I said, he want me to find the matching pair among the shoes. So I'm searching and looking, and no matches.
Right.
I said, So finally I got around to reading the description on the side, and guess what it said? Waiting for the other shoe to fall.
I think I remember this exhibit. It was, where did they do it?
This was at TCC.
Yeah.
If I had the money, I would have bought that painting because it was right in line with what my psychologist told me. A lot of times we sitting around waiting for the other shoe to fall, and they don't have to fall.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is interesting. Again, for me, everything is connected to the past. And you're talking, being a minister and a preacher and everything. David Walker. Are you familiar with David Walker? In 1829, he wrote a book called David Walker's Appeal to the Colored Citizens of the World, particularly those of the United States of America. And it was 79 pages, and it just frightened white America really seriously. And his book was basically saying that you have to end slavery now or we'll end in bloodshed. And he was a preacher, so in the play, he preaches a couple of his sermons, kind of thing like that. And again, it relates to the larger world and so forth like that. Now he was that was 1829. That was 2 years before the Nat Turner insurrection, and people don't know who he is as a rule. But like you're saying, when you put it in the words in a book, you gained all sorts of new audience members, folks who want to understand what you're trying to tell them, and that was 1829, and by 1831 he was dead, and they believe he was poisoned. And but they poisoned him, but they couldn't kill his words.
Wow.
The words continued to thrive and survive. And so when we do this play, we ask the audience members, the first question we ask them is, one of the questions we ask them is, which of these historical figures would you feel like that you would like to perform, play that character? And he gets a lot of votes because he's speaking in a language that they appreciate, and he's speaking honestly, and he's speaking the truth of the good book, as they say, And so the art. I think the point that I wanted to make, though, is that artists are critical to the renewal and to the just kind of the healing of the world, because arts are non-denominational in terms of their appeal. They appeal to you on a human level, and that's what we all are, and trying to understand each other better.
No more, no less.
No more, no less, right? So another plug for the arts.
Yeah.
They came to my house.
Amazing.
They came to my house to take my census, and I'm sitting on the porch. And, they asked you a series of questions, and they got to the race question, and they said, "What's your race?" And I said, "Human." And she started laughing. She said, "No, for real, what's your race?"
She didn't believe that one, huh?
I said it again.
Get out of here.
I said it again, human.
Right.
And she got it.
Right.
She didn't get it the first time.
Right.
But then she got it.
Right.
So she said, "Oh, okay.
Right.
That's all I am.
Yeah.
Right.
No more,
No less.
no less."
And it'd be a better world if everyone saw it that way.
But see, we have to make sure we see it that way.
And then teach people how to do it.
They say we are the product of our environment. There should be a point when your environment becomes a product of you. I was in New York, and I had just had a nice dinner my aunt could cook. She could burn. And she spoiled me every time I went to New York. I lost it not too long ago, but she used to spoil me. And I was walking one of her dinners off. And New York is known to be cold and callous and impersonal. And here I'm walking through New York City, speaking to people. That's a no-no.
Oh, no, yeah, I know that.
Everybody knows you go to New York, you don't speak to nobody.
Yeah, I was told that when I went. Don't smile and don't say nothing.
And here I am walking through New York City, smiling at people, speaking, "Hello, good morning," and they're speaking back. I'm waving at people, and they're waving back. I'm making eye contact with people, and they're making eye contact back. And I'm sitting, and I got back upstairs, and I'm sitting there, and I spent a lot of time with God. And I'm sitting there, and I said, "Lord, you are awesome." I said, "You done changed New York City. Because New York City used to be so cold and callous." He said, "I haven't changed New York." He said, "I've changed you. And you have changed it." I said, "Wow." Okay.
It's amazing.
That's how it
But see,
works.
Jesus came to do away with the middleman. There is nothing in between you and God. As it was in the beginning, Adam walked hand in hand with God. There was nothing between Adam and God. So Jesus came to reconcile us back to that state. What happened when the middleman came in, the middleman made money. I tell God this if you read my palm. And the more money you put in the high priest's hand,
Mm-hmm.
the better your chances of getting your message to God.
Mm-hmm.
So Jesus came to do away with that. Jesus didn't come to become the middleman. And see, this is rational teaching. Because people are still put their pastors in between them and God.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Pastor, would you pray for me and tell God this and tell God that,
Yeah.
And God is saying, what's wrong with your mouth?
Yeah. Yeah.
And see, people talk about Jesus healing people of blindness. It wasn't physical blindness that he was healing people. Spiritual blindness.
Yeah.
The Bible said people got perfect sight,
Mm-hmm.
yet they can't see. Perfect hearing,
But can't hear.
but can't hear it. Perfect. So Jesus was a spiritual teacher. So he came to eliminate all that. So until we have a spiritual awakening, we'll go along with what the world is doing. Because these eyes in the front of our heads
Right.
is designed to see outward. They can't see inside, but they can see outside.
Mm-hmm.
I can point out every fault you got because my eyes are designed to look for them.
Right.
But when we get that spiritual eyes open, then I can see mine. You ever had somebody point your fault out and they got the same exact fault you got?
It takes one to know one.
And you're like, what the world?
Yeah.
You don't know you got this fault?
Right. Right.
But see, when I started doing that self-examination, God said, if you're going to judge anybody, I told
Start
you
with
don't
yourself.
judge. But since you want to assist, judge yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And see, when I judge me and the stuff that I done did, who am I to stand in judgment of anybody? I done did some stuff. Everything ain't in this book. And everything ain't going to be in this book.
That's
And
the next book.
some
That'll be
things will
next
stay
book.
between me and God.
Yeah.
God will have to make a personal appearance for me to share some of the stuff. So who am I to stand in judgment of anybody? And if I can love me, this is how we learn love, self-love. It starts there. Everything starts with us. So because I love me, and I still mess up. I still ain't got it all right, but I love me.
Mm-hmm.
One of the most sincere, heartfelt, tear-stained apology that I ever issued was to me. After that spiritual awakening, I apologized to that little boy that took that beating I was telling you about.
Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't allow him to do that. I did that to that boy. Never mind what that man did. I should allow that kid to cry. I shouldn't make that kid stand there and take that whooping. And God has allowed me to revisit that kid, that little me, and apologize to him. And I'm crying my eyes out. I'm so sorry that I made you take that. And we turn against ourselves. We condemn our own self. Most of us suffering in self-condemnation. It ain't what the world is saying about you.
Right.
It's what we saying about our own
Being
self.
critical of yourself.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Every time I turn around, you're doing something stupid. When you going to learn? Are you really out of your mind? These are the things I'm saying to myself. The world is already saying these things about you. You saying the same thing.
Yeah, because they're manifesting it to you, and you're believing it.
You buying into it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's where we're going to change everything with the arts and like Sherry Bailey with Juneteenth and what she's doing is great because with theater, I don't know if you have a master's degree in theater, right?
My master's is in guerrilla theater, using guerrilla theater to build community.
See how perfect that is? So as you travel, and she's getting ready to go to, where are you going, to Louisiana?
In fact, I'm going to Shreveport, Louisiana. I've got a play called Tidewater that's we were actually opening the first week of October, and we did. We had the preview night on that Thursday, and one of the actors came down with COVID, and we had to shut down, and it's been rescheduled to next weekend, actually. And that, in fact, I was going to ask you, Cam, Shreveport is only about 3 hours from Dallas. So
Yeah.
are there some folks that we can let them know that it's happening?
Yeah, well, I'm a playwright. I don't know if you guys knew that.
Look at all the comments.
I'm sitting among great I'm
So
humble by all
yes,
that.
actually, I have a few people in Texas that's doing plays and things like that. So I most definitely connect you with them. In fact, I'm going to have a guy on the show for my birthday. His Snoop
When's your
Robinson,
birthday?
November 19th.
Okay.
And he's Snoop Robinson, and now he's doing movies on top of doing plays. So I'm from the Shelley Garrett days.
Okay.
And so my
Okay.
god brother is with Tyler Perry and
Mhm.
do all these things. So the pictures in the lobby,
Mhm.
those are the people that I've met that actually do stage plays. So when you want a celebrity type person, I do have some people that I can refer you
Okay.
to if you want to put celebrities in your show.
I absolutely mean everybody loves the theater, you know.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I believe when all of these different options came up, you got streaming, you got cable, But I'm like, and people are like, oh, theater's gonna go.
Oh, yeah,
I'm
that
like,
gets you out the
you're
house.
always gonna need theater. You're always gonna need that one-on-one human being to human being kind of connection,
Yeah.
So definitely, that's wonderful to hear.
Well, guys, we're gonna have to wrap it up. So we're gonna wrap it up with you guys telling people how to get your book, how to see the play, how to get to the school. Okay, so we'll start with you, Sherry.
Well, everything is you can find on the website www.juneteenthva.org, and I'm hoping that you guys can do the caption kind of thing. And we are always looking for folks to join the Juneteenth cause also. So there's going to be a way to become a member, and really encourage folks to come out to 12 Days of Turner, at least one of the events, over the course of the day of the 12 days. And again, the best way, we're going to do Eventbrites and Evites and things of that nature, and certainly just kind of got the flyer here and making sure that people can get that. So yeah, that's pretty much what I've got in terms of like being in touch. And always know that Juneteenth is not just one day a year. Just we're all year round, and we particularly want people who have history in the area, descendants of Nat Turner, for instance, and descendants of the people who were the whites who died in the insurrection. We want those descendants, and we want those conversations to happen. And again, thank you for the opportunity to be here.
Absolutely, absolutely. And what about you, sir?
My name is Jessie Warren, and believe me when I tell you, nobody is more amazed at this book than I am. But I remind you of the scripture, Jeremiah 29:11, where God said He and only He know the plan that He has for our lives, and that's one of prosperity and not of evil. And I thank God for allowing me to, using me to write this book. The book is available, and I say this with all humbleness. This book is available on Amazon, Walmart, Barnes and Nobles, Appleton, a lot of stuff I don't know nothing about.
Sounds good.
And it's called $15. And I tell people I would give them away, but my wife won't let me. But it's more. I'm more concerned with people getting the book than I am the money.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't stupid. I know I need money because it costs me to make it. But I'm more concerned with people getting it and relating to it because it's a human book.
Right.
It has nothing to do. The television wanted me to promote it as a part of Black history, and I refused to let them do that to us because it's not a Black book. This book wasn't written because I'm Black. The book is written about human conditions and human issues that a lot of us have.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the feedback that I'm getting from the book is that people saying, I can relate. Whenever we get a chance to talk to people, we keep the focus on us. People get offended when you start pointing your finger out.
Mm-hmm.
But when you keep the focus on you and tell the hardship that you done been through, your testimony, people can relate. But when you start talking about, well, you need to do this and you need to do that, people start shutting down.
Right.
But God is also, this is not work for the faint of heart.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
It's not. It takes boldness to do this kind of work that you're doing because you're putting yourself out there. And that's why a lot of people won't go out there because they don't want to put themselves out there because they're afraid of people's judgment.
Mm-hmm.
But what I know is that the people that judging me can't judge me because we all did some stuff.
Right.
I ain't got to know what you did to know you did something. I ain't got to know. Don't want to know. I don't want to know your business. But I know we all did stuff,
Right.
So I thank God for the bold spirit that I have, and the love that I got for people, the compassion that God has instilled in me for people,
Right.
and Like I said, you can order it on Amazon, Walmart, Barnes and Noble. The book done gone global. Like I said, I wrote it for my family.
Right, right.
I told God, if you just give me 25 copies, I'm a happy camper. Right now, I done sold almost 2,500. Who would have known?
Right. So you guys buy the book, hold the book up again so they can see it, coming clean. And you can get it where all fine books are sold, Amazon, order it. You guys get it out there, and it's for everyone.
Oh, yeah,
So
Kindle.
and Kindle. And Kindle. And Miss Heidi, tell us about how people can get in contact with you.
Okay. You can look me up. I do a variety of things also with empowerment, as well as with the arts. And so you can, with the arts, it's wypcreativeartsindustry.com. And if in doubt, just look up Heidi Hughes, WYP Creative Arts, and you can find me there. And I help out artists and entrepreneurs on a global effort to help them with their passion to come to fruition. And we have some great things coming up with Africa, looking forward to culture exchange programs.
Nice.
And using all of our resources, like all of us here, and other people like us, bringing us all together so that we can take control and help the masses. We can do it. We don't need the government. We don't need anyone. It's us. We're the ones. God plants, these seeds, and it's time.
Nice.
So
it don't take but one to set it all.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, guys, so this concludes our show. We ran a little bit over. Sorry, guys, but SKST Radio, Authors Network, we got it going on. The community happening right here. Tune in next week. Same time, same channel. SKST Radio, baby.
yeah.
Booyah!